Hi, and welcome to another edition of Tom Talks Tech. In this episode, we're going to delve into the third type of digital monitoring, which some say is looking at web access logs. Is this effective? Is it a good idea? Let's delve in. Firstly, let's think about what is network access log monitoring. Monitoring through network access logs is where we use our web filter and the logs that are generated by it to give us alerts to try and focus on those students who need our help the most. So, why is it not particularly effective to use web filter logs to generate alerts for monitoring? Well, firstly, let's think about what the web filter is there for. The web filter is there to make sure that students don't stumble into those darker corners of the internet. It's supposed to keep the students from the so-called bad places. However, we've got to be aware that bullying and other problems happen in the good places. For example, Google Sheets, often used in schools. You can't block Google Sheets, that would be crazy. Students are using it to do their work. But can students bully one another through Google Sheets? Of course they can. What about Microsoft Word? Can we stop students using Microsoft Word? Much as we'd love to, it's not an option. But can students write violent notes in Microsoft Word? Of course they can. So bad things can happen in good places. The filter is there to stop us accessing the content that we know is really bad. But the internet is an interactive place. The filter cannot mediate that. So the first issue with using our filter logs is that many of the places where these concerns will crop up are the so-called good places of the internet, the things the filter is actually designed to allow through. The second reason we should avoid using web filtering logs as alerts or as the primary source, if you will, for DSL monitoring students is that web filtering logs are notoriously difficult to understand. I've been doing this job for nearly 20 years, and I will still struggle to put together a decent timeline of what a student has been doing given their web filter logs. I understand the web. I understand its stateless nature, which means from one thing to the next, the requests aren't linked. So in a web filter log, you will end up with a list of requests, which you have to then put together into what has really happened. It's like piecing together a jigsaw where all the pieces are sky and half of them are missing. Don't buy jigsaws from second-hand shops, folks. It's a recipe for disaster. But so is this. You're piecing together something from the little touch points. And these touch points might not be in order. They're also to different sites with complicated URLs, and a lot of the data is missing. So in your web filtering logs, you won't see the data necessarily that students sent to that website. So you're missing a bunch of the data, it's out of order, and it's complicated to understand. If someone like me, who's had years of experience of doing this, can't piece these together every time, all the time, then you shouldn't expect your DSLs to do so as well. Even if we have managed to understand the filter logs, which as I've said is notoriously difficult, the filter logs lack any context. A good proactive monitoring system will give you a screenshot. This will give you more data around what the student was doing. Some vendors will offer to try and take a screenshot based on the web address. This isn't really particularly useful. What it's going to give you is it's going to give you a snapshot of what that website was a little after. It's not going to give you what the student was typing into that website. It's not going to give you really what they were doing. You're going to see an anodyne version of this website, which has been visited later by a screenshot captures of it. In addition, you're not going to get the context of what's going on around the browser, which may provide crucial clues as to whether this is really an alert that you should be looking into or whether it's another false positive. It might feel like I'm a bit down on web filter logs. Far from it. They're incredibly useful. In fact, one of the things that is tantamount here at Smoothwall is that we keep every single web filter log and every single access. These logs are essential when it comes to evidentiary investigations. When we're really digging into who did what, when did they do it, how did they do it, web filter logs are absolutely crucial. This can come off the back of an alert. An alert through a monitoring system will then lead into perhaps an investigation with IT onto other things. What are the websites did a student visit? What were they doing before and after? These can be really, really useful, but they're not a way to generate the alerts in the first place. There just is too little context and too many false positives. So web filter logs, whilst useful, whilst essential, whilst you should keep them, whilst you will need them, are not a substitute for monitoring. Please investigate true digital monitoring. You'll thank me later. Well, thanks for watching another episode of Tom Talks Tech, which are absolutely filmed on different days. I just wear the same polo shirt each time. Look, the weather even changes behind me. Seriously, folks, if you've got something you'd like me to cover, please drop us an email, enquiries@smoothwall.com. Put a comment in the comments if you're watching this on socials, or find me in my usual hangouts around edugeek.net. Thanks for watching. Appreciate you. Bye.